Hey y'all, how you doing? I want to talk for a second. This will not be a long video, hopefully. I want to talk for a second about your outline for your visual rhetorical analysis. And so what I've done is I've actually created, I think, a pretty intensive outline for what this will look like, and then a simplified one and did it a little easier too. I don't know what's going on with me. So I wanted to show you a couple things and explain myself in just a couple ways. So the first paragraph is your introduction. And one of the things I wrote in here is go from general to specific. And so my students sometimes ask me what I mean by that. So I actually put two examples in here. So I'm going to talk about how in example number 1, how if I wanted to start a paper this way, kind of generally I would talk about advertising. Then I would be a little bit more specific about how it's manipulating and how it manipulates its audience. And then I would lead into talking about my ad and how it manipulates its audience. And then I would do my thesis. And so that's kind of what an introduction paragraph could look like. That's one way. That's not the only way. And then another way that I decided to go is start with rhetoric. So talk about, define rhetoric. I mean, define it. Even talk about ethos, pathos, logos if you want to. And then where we see it. And so obviously we see it in advertising, but we also see it everywhere. We see it in our drink products. I mean, we just see so much like things that are trying to manipulate us and to convince us to do something. So where we see it, and then talk about how it works in advertising, and then talk about how it works in your ad, and that leads right into your thesis. Okay, so that's kind of what I mean when I say general to specific. So then we move on to your thesis. Remember that your thesis is something as simple as tell me if they use each rhetorical analysis effectively to produce an effective ad. And so you could say, by effectively using ethos, pathos, and logos, Deer Park Fizzy Water succeeds in their print ad. Something like that. Or you could say, by a successful use of ethos and pathos, they succeed, but there is not much logos, because I do want you to talk about all three. So it just kind of depends on your situation. Okay, so then that's your thesis, and then the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and describe your advertisement. I think that's just a really good thing to do, so it kind of sets the context a little bit more. So notice I've said top to bottom or left to right, however you want to organize it, maybe what stands out most or what stands out least. I mean, there's different ways you could do it, and any way is probably fine. And then, so now, we've got 1 paragraph introduction, 2 paragraphs description, and then your 3rd paragraph would be audience, author, purpose. And I put all of those things into 1 paragraph because I do not think that you're going to get a paragraph talking about any of those 3 things on their own. So that's why I think they go together. And it does constitute the rhetorical situation anyway, so I think that's fine. And so what I would do is look at these questions I've asked you, because I think they can be really, really helpful. And so who's the author? What do you know about them without doing research? And I'll let you read that, because me rereading it is not going to help you that much. So then the next paragraph that you'll have is your ethos. And ask a question and you'll explain yourself a little bit more. Then you have a paragraph about pathos. Then you have a paragraph about logos. You may find that for whatever reason you have so much to say about pathos. Well, if you have so much to say about pathos and you feel like you want to divide it into 2 paragraphs, you're more than welcome. This is more about sections than anything. And then you'll have your conclusion. So I would say you have to have at least 8 paragraphs in this. So, I mean, your paper is going to make it at 3 pages pretty easily, I think. Okay? And then I just went over and just kind of showed you a simplified outline. Again, I say paragraph, but parts is really what I mean by that. And that's really it. If I were you, I think one of the best things that you can do for this is print this out and fill it in. And right on the little paper, go ahead and answer those questions. And I think you'll do really, really well here. So if you have any questions, as always, just let me know. Y'all have a good day.